With each week, we get another data point. We get more evidence of what that team's going to be for 2021 and for Florida State. First ACC game against what we would expect to be a mid-level, middle-of-the-pack ACC team, a 3-touchdown loss. Draw your own conclusions. We certainly will over the next hour, and invite your comments and questions right here at the Voice of College Football and our Florida State Seminoles live show for the 125th time, Jason Parker, NBC 6.
Yay. We get to talk about the loss this season. Yay. I'm going to call out somebody real quick. I don't want to hear from Logan Robinson that I don't show up. I've showed up now for the most embarrassing loss in Florida State football history, the 75 seasons of Florida State football. And what I would argue was an even more disappointing loss, and we'll talk about it over the next hour, with the way they played against Wake Forest. And where's Logan? I guarantee you, if we somehow find a way to beat Louisville, he'll be back here next week. You know he will. Talking about how great things are, with all sunshine and rainbows. Logan, come when the going is tough.
Well, if there's something that this show teaches us on a weekly basis, is that there are different perspectives and different types of allegiances, and I would never rate yours above Logan's or Logan's above yours. They're just different.
I mean, I'm bringing my A game, win or lose, and this is now 3 losses in a row. We've done this. It's not fun. It's not fun.
It's not fun. And Jason and I delivered what is most undoubtedly the most depressing show that we've had out of 124 to date last week. But we can only work with the material that we have.
I don't know. The Bout and Death one was pretty depressing on a personal level. But yeah. I'll say as far as the 3 seasons we've done it, yes, that was the most depressing game one. Yes, absolutely. I will say you were correct, Mark.
But I'm only going to take so much blame because we can only work with what we have given.
So let's make this one even more depressing. With every one we're going to do is going to be more depressing. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, one of us will cry.
And considering my neutrality, I think the betting odds should be like 9-1 here.
Damn.
At least.
Damn, I didn't think of that one.
So, Jason, you made a point before we started to record that kind of brings home the state of this team and possibly the program. And I'm one that typically separates team from program. Program is the entire culture, the recruiting, everything involved. The team is obviously the guys on the roster right now playing the games. Is that we have this game number 1 that would have been awesome if Florida State could have found a way to win, but they didn't. But quality team on the other side. And that was an encouraging loss. If there is such a thing, I don't want to speak for you, but I was encouraged by them fighting to the end, going to overtime with the 9th-ranked team in the country that should finish in the top 10 to 15 in the country.
And you saw after that, we on the show after that, the Wednesday after, before the most humiliating loss in program history, the following Saturday, we were very adamant about, was this the direction turner? Was this the one where at the time, after the first week of games, did the North Carolina game look possibly winnable? Because remember, North Carolina lost the opener. Did the Miami game look winnable? Because Miami got shellacked by Alabama in their first game. And all of a sudden we had this confidence. Then you have the most embarrassing loss to Jacksonville State. And I still will say that was the most embarrassing loss in program history. That being said, even in the most embarrassing loss in program history, there were still some positives you could get out of it. There were some positive moments in that game. What we saw on Saturday, and I say this risking people saying you're just being negative, No, I'm being factual. That was an outright disappointment. The regression that this team has taken in just 3 games, all losses, all same outcome, that's what matters, wins and losses. But the regression from, you're sitting there, like you said, Mark, correctly, we take the number 9 team in the country. Admittedly, we'll say Notre Dame was a little bit overranked, but moving on, they were the 9th-ranked team in the country when they came in to Bowden Field. You go to overtime with that team, and then you lose by 21 points to a middle, with all due respect to Wake Forest, they kicked our butts, without a doubt, with a middle-of-the-road, maybe slightly above middle-of-the-road ACC team. That's where we are right now. And now you're going to play a Louisville team that beat you by 32 points last year. At this point, I can realistically say that there are only 2 games left on our schedule right now that you can say are winnable games. We'll talk about that over the rest of the show, and we'll talk about that in the next couple of weeks. There are really only 2 games that are left that are winnable. Does that mean Florida State's going to go 2-10? No, I think that they have the team that can maybe pull out a couple wins over the course of the season. But this has gone from a team who Logan and I were saying was a 7-win, 8-win team to realistically a 3-4-win team. So the question has to come back to, how do you go? How do you drop from all the hype and all the pomp and all the circumstances at the start of the year to what we are seeing right now?
Well, my point in all that, in talking about the progression or regression from game 1 to game 3, would be something that you seem to allude to when we were talking before we started to record, and that's that, okay, coming off Notre Dame and the hope and the optimism, then Jacksonville State, that's just an embarrassment. That's a game you cannot lose as an FBS team, a Power 5 team to an FCS, especially a Power 5 of the status of Florida State. Okay, so they lose a historic game. And then they're playing a team that, again, historically, based on name, brand, image, all those things, shouldn't be on their level, but is realistically maybe what we thought were on their level, and now we will say isn't on their level in the other direction, and that's Wake Forest. And instead of being motivated, determined by the outcome against Jacksonville State and ready to play and prepared to take on a good team, they didn't seem prepared.
Yeah, it almost came out like, and there were a lot of the FSU experts and a lot of the FSU fans who came out before the game and said, we were going to kill Wake Forest. My old co-editor for Chop Chat, shout out to Kelvin Hunt and friends of Chop Chat, but you were very bold with your prediction that was incorrect. And my question is, where did this bold, aside from the fandom, aside from just being a fan of Florida State, being an alum of Florida State, where was the thought that this team was going to come out and dog stomp Wake Forest? I saw predictions that said 42-13 Florida State. I saw predictions that said 38-3. I get that some of it's a little bit sarcastic fandom, but what honest to God would give you that mindset after seeing what had happened against Jacksonville State? I said we win by 3 points, and that was a completely biased 100% Florida State class of 2006 pick. That's the only reason I picked Florida State. I legitimately think that this is a team that could go 2-10 the rest of the way. I don't want them to, but they could. What bothers me is the way, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I don't think Mackenzie Milton should have started against Jacksonville State. I don't think he should start against Wake Forest. Obviously, he's going to start against Louisville because Jordan Travis is injured. But I feel like that was the start of it. I don't think Mackenzie Milton should have started the Jacksonville State game because I don't think Jordan Travis played out of the starting role. I don't think Jordan Travis was great against Notre Dame, but I felt like Mackenzie Milton did not earn that right. Statistically, you look at that Jacksonville State game, you look at the Wake Forest game, as we pulled the stats of the Wake Forest game, Mackenzie Milton threw 11 completions for 119 yards. 11 of 16, 119 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jordan Travis, 5 of 6, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. If Jordan Travis is healthy, Jordan Travis should be the starting quarterback at this rate. So that's my question. Is Mackenzie Milton not ready for this moment? I mean, he was great at UCF, but he had the 2 years we talked about. He had not started a football game, had not played in a football game for nearly 3 calendar years. Did we come in with this false hope that everything was going to be great like it was in 2017, 2018? And who sold us these bill of goods? And as far as Richard Bass, I'm going to address this real quick. To the Hate Jimbo fans, should we also hate Daryl Mudra? Well, my father was a part of those Daryl Mudra teams, so I'm not going to blame Daryl Mudra at all. But what do you think about fans still blaming Jimbo for what's going on now? As one of those people, I will say that this is a triple threat error. This is a Jimbo Fisher problem. This is a Willie Taggart problem, and this is a Mike Norvell problem. You cannot say that this was all for those, and then we'll get to this in a moment. For those who want to say that this is all Willie Taggart's fault, this started a long time ago. This started in 2015, losing to a Georgia Tech team that was that ended that season 3-9. That's not a game you're supposed to lose to. You're not supposed to lose the following season 63-20 to Louisville and then lose to North Carolina at home on a field goal in a defensive, a horrible game by the defense in that one. Now, did things turn around? Yes, absolutely. One loss that season, the one loss the remainder of that season was to the eventual national champions. But in 2017, your one makeup game, remember the Louisiana Monroe game had to be made up because of Hurricane Irma, you're one makeup game away from not being bowl eligible that season. You have to win that game. You have to win a bowl game to finish that year 7-6. Did Willie Taggart do better? No. And I've said it publicly before. I'll say it again. Willie Taggart was not ready to be the Florida State coach. I was willing. I listened to you. I listened to Logan talk about how you have to give Mike Norvell a chance. Last year, he should get a little mulligan because he didn't have spring, didn't have full. It was the COVID year. Okay, I'm willing to understand that. This is his full year. He's had a full spring practice, full fall practice. Everyone was in Tallahassee. For the most part, the team is vaccinated. I believe it's around 85%, so you shouldn't have as many concerns with COVID. Obviously, things can happen. There's breakthroughs and whatnot. But for the most part, you should be okay with that. And you're 0-3 within those 3 losses, including a horrible loss to a middle-of-the-road ACC team and the worst loss in program history. So, no, it's not all Jimbo's fault. It's not all Willie Taggart's fault. It's not all Mike Norvell's fault. It's all 3 of their faults right now. It's all 3 of their faults for letting this get to from what was a 29-game win streak, what was 3 straight ACC titles, a national title, a berth in the first playoff appearance, to where we are now.
I brought up an article from ESPN that was more of a learning experience for me than it was for Jason, Logan, or for James. But we talked about it several times during the off season because whether I'm sure there are inaccuracies in it or perspectives in it that not everyone would agree on, but it does a good job of outlining how even just after the national championship season going into 2014, how things started to unravel and how Jimbo Fisher certainly did not take the same program in 2013 and hand it to Willie Taggart. It wasn't anywhere close to the same program. And because of Jimbo Fisher and the way in which he left the program because of a severed relationship, that maybe the care that some coaches would take in a good situation where you're going to another job, but the relationship is still good. Everyone is happy for each other, that you're moving on to another situation and you want to do like we see regularly during bowl season where coaches get other jobs, but they are still loyal and so forth to their current employer. They still work hard during bowl season and try to keep that relationship good and transition that as well as they can. That was obviously not the case with Jimbo Fisher.
And Jimbo Fisher, for those, and we've talked about this before, this is Jimbo Fisher who came into the program. He was an SEC assistant. He was used to SEC style programs, and he was trying to turn Florida State into more of an SEC type program in the ACC. The problem is that's not the way Florida State's going to be. That's not the way Florida State ever has been. Florida State was, when my parents went to school there in the 70s, for lack of a better term, it was the Berkeley of the East. It was protest school. We sucked in football. We had a few good years in the 60s, I'll give you that. But in the 70s is when things started to go downhill, and that's when Bobby Bowden eventually got hired before the 1976 season. That, and you see where the Florida State. That's why we joined the ACC. Yes, and did we join the ACC to get out of the SEC, get out of the possibility of playing the SEC? Sure, I will 100%. Well, 100% admit up to that. I will cop up to that right now. But also joining the ACC is what helped us build other athletic programs. It's what has helped build us into a better academic institution. We're, ranked in the top 20 now amongst academic institutions, tied with the University of Miami in that ranking. And Miami's always been a distinguished academic institution in that state. That's stuff that happened because we joined a better, with all due respect to the SEC, a better academic conference in the ACC. You're talking about schools like Duke. You're talking about schools like North Carolina. You're talking about schools that focus a little bit more on academics versus the SEC, which, with all due respect, yes, Jeremy Martin, you're 100% correct. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you're talking about an ACC, which is more focused on academics and sports all around, and an SEC, which is football-centric. That's fine for those schools. That's great. Jimbo, I think, thought, hey, I won a national title. I should get this. And it was never going to happen. So, Georgia, Ron, you may need a whole six-pack. I'm not going to lie to you on that one. Can we rip Adam Fuller yet? Can I please?
Sure.
Adam Fuller? Okay. Why is he still the defense coordinator? Anyone in our comment section. I don't read the comment section because a lot of the comments are just, I don't get them. But anyone give me a logical reason why Adam Fuller is still the defense coordinator of this team. This is an Adam Fuller that so far this season gave up 41 points to Notre Dame, above last year's season average. Gave up 20 points. Oh, he heard the call. He heard him get called out. He rushed over from class.
Jason, finish your point, and I will give Logan the proper introduction because I think I got his name written down so I don't forget it. I think I got it. Okay, I got it.
Okay, we write it down. Adam Fuller's a man who gave up 41 points against Notre Dame. You gave up 20 points to an FCS opponent. Mind you, this is an FCS opponent in Jacksonville State that we had beaten less than a year before, convincingly. You give up 20 points then, 13 points in the final 5 minutes of the game. And then you're going to go give up 35 points to Wake Forest team that the last time we played Wake Forest, they had to kick 5 field goals to beat us. They got in the end zone 1 time the last time they played us. This time they got in the end zone 5 times? Oh, quick math. Sorry, I apologize, 4 times because they went for 2-point conversion. I apologize. So they got in the end zone 4 times this time versus 1 time the last time we played them. Adam Fuller needs to be fired as the defensive coordinator. If Louisville schools us the way Louisville schooled us last year, Adam Fuller should not be the defense coordinator when we play Syracuse. But don't worry, because a lot of the fans are going to sit here and say, give them time. Give them time. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. We're 3-9 since Mike Norvell took over as head coach and Adam Fuller took over as defensive coordinator.
We are happy to be joined by Logan Robinson from Nole Game Day, of course. Everybody head on over to Nole Game Day right here on YouTube and also NoleGameDay.com. Check out Logan and the rest of the staff there. And we are happy that Nate Greer is here every Saturday after the Seminoles game to break down Florida State football for us. So we appreciate us being able to borrow Nate on Saturdays for the big wrap-up show. Logan, how we doing? We're going to forget Florida State for about 5 seconds. How are we doing otherwise?
We're busy. It's been nonstop. Taking 5 classes in the fall is a terrible idea. And then along with football season and now us having the credential opportunities now and it just being a complete crazy show and work has gotten insane. So right now, just trying to juggle a lot of things at once.
Why would you take 5 classes?
So that I can graduate. I'm not going to take 1 class in the spring just for fun.
You take 4. You do the summer classes. You live in Tallahassee. You're not like me.
I did 4 classes this summer. 4 classes. I took a full load during the summer too.
Logan, you take football season easier. So that way in the spring, you just buckle down.
I know. That's what I used to do. But I was like, you know what? Let's just graduate and be done with it all. So in the spring, we can focus on what the biggest sport that means the most at Florida State, and that's basketball. Right?
This is true. We are a basketball.
Yeah, I had to put a lot of my attention. I had to switch things up.
I think we are officially. Yes, give Mike Norvell more time because 3-9 has earned it. He has earned it with a 3-9 record.
Oh, I could only imagine how last week's show when I started so far.
So here, I'm gonna give the fans a chance. Your eternal optimist, Logan Robinson from Nole Game Day.
Yep.
Which we will talk in one moment about something big with Nole Game Day. We'll talk about that in a moment. But our eternal optimist, Logan Robinson from Nole Game Day, part of the Sports Illustrated family now. Mazel tov to you on that one.
Appreciate it.
Give me the optimism why I shouldn't say that this dumpster fire is going to continue. Give me the eternal optimist approach. Try not to take the full 40 minutes that we have left in this show to think about this.
Before Logan goes, I gave the neutral perspective on why there was optimism during the offseason.
Which is?
Which was, number one, that recruiting was good. Number two, that even beyond the coach speak, Mike Norvell was telling me things that I thought were substantial about the direction of the program. Number three, there's just flat out great football players in Florida, and they were getting them and in other places. Again, that's tied to recruiting. And I also thought that based on a lot of what Logan brought us here, but other people, James as well, that their observations of the team physically, of being looking like a Florida State football team from a strength and conditioning standpoint, I thought would be a difference.
My comeback to that real quick before we get to Logan would be...
I knew there'd be a comeback.
Of course. You know that. Come on now. We've done it 125 times now.
Yeah.
My comeback to that would be, we talked about all it in the preseason. We had all this hype. We had all this promise. And I legitimately thought we'd be a 7-win team. Maybe in a perfect world, we could pull out 8 wins. But so far through the first quarter of our season, we have not lived up to that hype. Yes, the 22 Travis Hunter is sticking with us right now. We've got a lot of recruits who are sticking with us. Yes, I think there's a decent hope for the future. But my comeback to that would be, we talked all this hype. We had all this hype and promise going into this season. And so far, the results have not shown. Well, Logan, give me a chance. Why should I have hope and promise for this season? Not for the future, but hope and promise that 2021 will not end with a 1-11 record. Thank you, UMass, for being on our schedule.
So far, we went to practice yesterday, so now I got to actually talk about that and what we see in person. No longer have to work so much off of sources and everything of that nature. And after leaving yesterday's practice, I was like, well, been to Jimbo's, been to Willie's, been through Norvell's a few times in the scrimmages, but that practice just didn't have any energy. Nobody was talking to anybody. It was kind of just, they had music going on here and there, but it was kind of just dead energy. Our guy Noah just went earlier this morning. He said it was kind of a whole 180. Guys energized, guys were making plays. Norvell was happy with how things were going. There was a lot of criticism yesterday morning from the staff, and Dillingham was really hard on the quarterbacks. But, going into the gameplay from Wake Forest, taking away your best running back when you're driving down the field doesn't make any sense to me. Throwing off to the side to Jordan Wilson on screen doesn't make so much of sense to me, or out to the flats to Jordan Wilson. That's your run blocking tight end. Those kind of play calls really I'm questioning, and it's an easy fix for me. I know a lot of people are thinking that Norvell's calling the plays. That's not the case. Dillingham, for some reason, is still the one calling these up there in the booth. That's got to be handed over. Norvell has got to be going back to, this is his team now. He's got to call the plays on offense to save anything of what they think might happen this season. Right now you're looking at maybe 2-3 games that Florida State's going to win this upcoming, this for the rest of the season. And, looking at Louisville this upcoming, they're going to score. Does anybody trust Adam Fuller? No. If Louisville puts up 35, I think 35 is a firing. 35 should be fired by, heading into the locker room.
You think Louisville only scores 35?
Well, they'll probably score more, but I'm saying that's the minimum, though, of 35.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
35. But there will be definitely a few changes this offseason. It might come earlier than we might expect. I do expect there might be some changes before the season ends. That's going to help this team. You're going to have at least a pure AJ Duffy coming in, Travis Hunter next year. I'm not so. This season's already to shot. I want to see younger guys. I want to see Kevin Knowles. I want to see Shaheem Brown, the one that we heard about the most during fall camp. And I also want to see more Trayshawn Ward. That's Florida State's best running back. That should be your starting guy, and he should be on the field 75% of the time. I understand that Mike Norvell wants to give everybody playing time. I understand that niceness, but I don't give a damn. It's football. play the best 2 running backs, if not play the most of your best running back. That's just, you don't ever see that kind of stuff going on in Georgia, Alabama, other places. You're not rotating 4 running backs. That doesn't need to happen. There's no reason for that. You will have DJ Williams back. We saw him in practice. I thought he was faster. He was faster than I thought he was. So, you'll have him hopefully available this upcoming weekend. You've got Robert Scott back. I think there's a few guys dinged up heading into this game. We'll see what the quarterback situation. I do believe Chuba Purdy will be QB2 in Louisville, so you might have a chance at seeing him this upcoming weekend, which is a big, the fans want that. It's just a lot of things that I think Norvell is definitely ticked off about, and it sounded like that during his press conference yesterday when we heard from him. It just didn't seem like he wasn't so happy about the practice they had yesterday, and that I didn't like it from what I was seeing. I didn't know, that was our first time to be there for a true Mike Norvell practice, but man, it just looked dead and just not a lot of energy. But luckily, it seems like this next practice this morning was a little bit different.
And you touched on it a little bit. Obviously, McKenzie Milton will be the starting quarterback against Louisville. Looks like Chuba Purdy will be the number 2 with Jordan Travis being hurt. I guess my question we talked a little about before, I want to get your opinion about it. After the debacle against Jacksonville State, and look at the stats. The stats are what they were. Virtually equal. Jordan Travis actually threw a touchdown against Wake Forest, unlike our friend McKenzie Milton. Should McKenzie Milton have started against Wake? He earned that start after losing to Jacksonville State. I don't think he should have. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think both quarterbacks are playing too well. I think if you want to move down the field, it's got to be, to me, Jordan Travis right now. I mean, it looked atrocious. And then that also goes into play calling. I mean, you're really using McKenzie Milton as your running guy in the red zone. I understand maybe Jordan Travis wasn't hurt. I still think Jordan Travis went in a little bit earlier or later in the game, but I'm not understanding why he isn't in there. And I don't understand that you're sometimes relying on Jordan Travis to take you down the field all by himself. I hate that. Back-to-back plays where he's taking the ball. And what do you think the defense is going to expect? Of course, he's running it finally. It took them about 2 series later to actually utilize and say, hey, let's let Jordan Travis throw the ball. And that opened up things. And they were going down the field. You have Trayshawn Ward, but then you take away Trayshawn Ward, who's running you down the field. It's a lot of just silliness. It is kind of silly to watch. And you got to hope that gets fixed going into this Louisville game, because if not, they're going to have to score. Florida State didn't score 1 point in that second half, and that's embarrassing. They've got to figure out a way to adjust. That we heard a few comments from Dillingham saying that they weren't expecting some of what Wake Forest was doing on defense. But what do you think? They face 2 goober teams, and then they're going to come face you, and it's going to be completely different. That's something a college coach should expect. And, that got a lot of heat on Twitter. There will be moves, I think, this offseason. That'll be a really fun offseason for us to cover. But just a lot of silly things that we're seeing in play calling, no adjustments, using different players, got to switch out players. I want to see some more discipline, the silly penalties back to back. Just another atrocious game to kind of watch. It was rough. I thought watching the Jacksonville State game was rough, but I mean, this Wake Forest game was just stunk even more.
Do you think this one was worse than Jacksonville State?
Well, you would hope that this team would have been a little bit more, this team really was dialed into this season. They would have woken up and been like, all right, well, we got to compete. But it didn't seem like they really wanted to really be there against Wake Forest either. They didn't want to be there against Jacksonville State.
Hell, they didn't want to be there against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But
for going into this weekend, I think you will see Chuba Purdy in there. Got to see him throw yesterday throughout the whole practice. I thought he was the best quarterback on the field. Norvell keeps saying, though, that there's some mistakes, and we did get to see there was one play where he was rolling out. It was really just one. He made a rollout play, kind of did what Jameis does, and just kind of threw it for no reason, and it would have been picked off. It went right to the DB, but he missed a wide open guy in the flat there on his first read. So like Norvell said, he's just got some freshman mistakes happening, but moving forward, I think it will be McKenzie Milton. And if Jordan Travis isn't able to go this upcoming weekend, then you'll see Chuba Purdy at number 2. And I thought he threw the balls the best yesterday and looked good.
Gator Gang has a good idea for you. Once you get a degree, you can become the defensive coordinator. It's not the worst idea in the world.
I know the key is getting the degree. That's the hard
You
part.
might want to do that.
That's the toughest.
But you know what you need to do right now?
Yeah.
You didn't do it last week. I sucked at it. I'll admit it. I was horrible with it. I couldn't bring my A game with it.
Was it atrocious?
You know what time it is. Literally, you know what time it is.
It is 6:30 right on the dot. And by 6:30, that always means hit the like button. Hit the like button. Also hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to it too if you're on your phone or if you're on desktop right now. I bet you're on your phone right now. But if you hit that like button, every Tuesday, or God, not Tuesday, Wednesday nights, we're here talking Florida State football nonstop. Now the coverage gets even better. At least we'll be able to be there a little bit and talk about practices, and we can talk about Dillingham's comments right there and hear what he says. And we get to give us a little bit of scoop here and there. Hit the like button. That's all you need to do. It's free too. 25. I think we get that to 50 by the end of the show. And the season's not. I mean, I know that what sucks. Season's kind of over for fans, but we're not done. We don't end here. Only the fun. You want to come here for the reactions after every game? Come right over here. Jason is here to give you the best reactions.
If you hit the like button, Manny Diaz gets one day closer to getting fired.
Well, we want him to stay. Hold up.
No,
we want him to stay.
He's 2-0 against us. We don't want him to stay. Get him out.
Even a terrible. It's going to be the Super Bowl of dingbats.
It's going to be at this rate a 4-5 Miami versus a 2-7 Florida State in arguably the most losses since I want to say 72, 73 between the teams. Yeah.
We're going to turn the defense over to Logan in just a second after he tells us why people want to check out Noel Game Day and everything else that's involved over there.
What's going on over there, Logan?
A lot of stuff. I think we had 60 articles last week. I think this week we'll have about 75 go out, and it's absolutely insanity. Now we'll have scoop and observations from practices. We're having interviews go out. We're doing live tweeting too while we're at practice. Actually, if you're inside the Discord, we're allowed to give coverage. We can't give away everything, but we're actually allowed to give some positive things about what's going on in practice. So if you're not in our Discord yet, and I keep telling you, this is the time to go in, patreon.com/NoelGameDay. And then we got the show tonight at 8:30, recapping Florida State versus Wake Forest, giving our last thoughts on that, talking about the quick hitters of the week, and then we're going to preview Florida State versus Louisville when they come into town, and we'll be there in the press box. I'll be able to show you mine.
You gonna start to get one of these? Atta boy.
I'll be able to show you mine. I can't wait to show you it. I'll send you a text of it, and I'll tell you what food is going to be up there in the press box.
I believe it's Sonny's. I believe Sonny's is the afternoon barbecue. So there you go. It was good.
Hey. I love people hate on Sonny's. I'm there all day long. Give me a pulled pork on garlic bread with fries.
Oh yeah, the Sonny's in Lake City. I get the turkey sandwich on garlic bread with a little bit of cheese on there.
Now I'm starving. Now you're making me hungry, Jason.
A side of beans,
I'm getting there.
Side of beans or something.
Barbecue.
Like
I'll never say no to barbecue. Ever. Never.
This is where we are, guys. We're at a football chat talking about food. This is where we're at when you're an 0-3.
Week 4.
Week 4.
Yeah, this is tough. This is something different that we've really never seen before, starting off like this with no win. And
no. 1976. 1976 was the last time. Here's your dumb stat of the day for those of you who like my dumb stats of the day. From 1979 to 2017, Florida State, and Miami lost on the same weekend a total of 2 times. Over the last 3 seasons and 3 weeks, it's happened 3 times already. That's where the state of football in the state of Florida is right now. Shout out to Florida. Florida played great against Alabama. I will admit that. They had a heck of a game against Alabama. Miami stunk up the bet against Michigan State, but right now we're all coming off a loss. Right now, the best team in the state of Florida, I'm just going to say it, I think it's FAU. They're 2-1.
While we are plugging Patreon, I will let people know that if they would have checked out my picks last weekend, my 3 upset picks were BYU to win outright as an underdog against Arizona State, Michigan State to win outright against Miami as a dog. What was my other one? Oh, Minnesota was a 3-point underdog at Colorado to win outright. And
Minnesota won.
42-28 against the spread, and we got Jason's picks there as well as 20 other media members. So
don't just look past my picks. Then no,
it's a long season.
No,
long season.
yeah, and we're only 3 weeks in, and you just want to keep going, scroll down the picks. Don't. Let's just say it's a good thing we're not doing this for money. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
I know better than to. I'm just letting people know what that my predictions are there, but I know better than in the prediction game to get too confident, because the next week is always the downhill slide if you get a little overconfident picking these games.
Well,
it's not easy.
There's nowhere to go but up. I mean, yes, that's the expression.
So, right after this show, everybody go to Patreon. Get Noel Game Day. Do it right there. Then you can.
And Mark Rogers too.
There you go.
Say the word again. No, he's gonna say that word.
The big D.
Just say. You didn't say it last week.
You want the big D, Jason? The big Discord.
Oh God.
And now you get the Discord and you get the notes straight from practice.
Yeah.
Like even better than ever.
It's live, giving you updates there inside a text there in a text box.
We are legitimately. We said this last week, Logan. We are legitimately proud of you and the Noel Game family. We know you. And all kidding aside, we know you've. But sorry, I'm going to use my one word of the day, my one curse for the day. We know you've busted your ass for years with Noel Game Day to make it a reputable source of information. It's up there as one of the top sources of Florida State sports information, and I think Mark will agree with me on this one, that we are both legitimately proud that you guys have signed a partnership deal with Sports Illustrated. You're part of the Sports Illustrated family.
Thank you.
So what can viewers expect now? What can readers expect now with Noel Game Day, a part of the Sports Illustrated family?
Well, I'm hoping officially I won't have to ever worry about missing you guys on Wednesdays after coming from work. We'll be at every practice. I'll be at every practice, every press conference, at every game, maybe a few, maybe not this year at every away game, but moving forward, just the coverage. I mean, we've always kind of gotten heat on it for credible, and, we're not under a big time network, so boo these young kids, but now we get to be there and do our thing, kind of just take what our big following base and bring it to the inside and actually give some content that we've never been able to achieve anymore. I think it's going to be, I think it's a monster that's just going to be let out of the cage. I'm excited because I feel like we keep our content kind of entertaining, but we keep it real. We'll be hindered on a few things as being credentialed, but we got to respect the program, and we'll listen to them, and we're here to give y'all the best coverage as we can, because this is what we worked our kind of tail off, and I'm excited for our team and covering. And we've got a young guy named Noah that's going to be credentialed and helping us cover games. And he was at practice this morning while me and Dustin were at work, and he killed it. And I'm just excited. I definitely appreciate y'all's support, because being able to come on here is huge for NG and getting our reach out there too, and interacting with fans and listeners. And, so we've had people on here for 100 weeks plus. So it's only the journey just like really now begins, and I can't wait to graduate and we'll be full on rolling. We'll be in the big D, rolling up everything. I mean, it is going to be wild in there, and you want to get in that big D. You want to get around in that big D. All the info and scoop that's in there right now is just. Now,
here's a question: if Love Barbecue and Knowles is in your, I'll use the word, it's in your Discord. Obviously, I hope this is not where he's getting his information. Love Barbecue and Knowles. Even in my most alcoholic days, I never, ever, and Mark can back me up on this, I never, ever said we would upset Clemson. I said we would upset Florida. And one of our followers on Twitter decided to rip me a new one for that this week. I said that Clemson was going to dog stomp us. I have said that since last season. So, Love Barbecue and Knowles, you might want to stop drinking. Just put it down. It's okay to have a bottle of water. I never, ever said we would upset Clemson. We consistently identified 5 opponents that were going to be clear favorites against Florida State, and we had discussions about who would be the most likely one for FSU to pick off. and it was definitely not Clemson.
It's not
I
Clemson.
don't think Clemson was up there, although they don't score points too. So hey,
Yeah.
Florida State has scored more points than Clemson this season so far. I mean, they did face Georgia,
Florida
but
State has given up more points than Clemson.
maybe Georgia Tech.
Florida State's
Hey, there's a chance, Jason. You've got to be optimistic here for the fans.
Okay.
You got the FSU hat on and the spear in the back. Can Adam Fuller also keep Dabo Swinney from scoring over 14, 20 points?
No. He's at this rate, it's going to be a shootout with UMass if he is still our defensive coordinator at this rate. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Clemson, and Mark and I talked about this a little bit before the show. I think you're going to see a closer game. You're going to see a much closer at this rate because I think Clemson's down a little bit. I think you have a better chance of seeing the 2017 result when we lost 31-14 than the 2018 result where we lost 52-10. I think we're still going to get dog stomped, but I think you will see a closer result because I think Clemson is taking a step down too in an ACC that right now is pretty pathetic. The only two unbeaten teams are Wake Forest and Boston College.
So, Logan, you gave us a rundown of the quarterback situation,
Yeah.
the play calling, the running back distribution, 2 backs, not 4, pretty much the whole deal on offense.
Yeah.
If we go to the defense, what was your assessment against Wake? I know that most of it's not going to be good, but the good and the bad against Wake.
I don't think Brownlee is a good one-on-one guy. I'd like to put him back in the slot more than anything. I think, they were able to piece him apart that whole entire game. So the DB room has got a lot of work. I mean, I don't think there's a pure number 2. Dotson also didn't have too much of a fantastic game either. And Jarian Jones just continues to struggle there on the defensive side of things. The DB room, either this weekend, you got to start throwing in some youngins, or I don't know what's going on. I mean, we keep on hearing good things about Kevin Knowles and Cheyenne Brown, but we haven't even been able to see them play really much of any. I'd like to see them get in there. I don't know if Demore Tate's, status, but, he was rising up to be a 5-star, and Alabama was pushing hard to grab him before, the end of his recruitment. I'd like to see 12 out there if there's a potential. I just still think there's other things hindering him, but I just know that he's a gifted, talented guy. But, the DB room is not there. And I don't think going into games and watching them, I don't know if Florida State has a linebacker room. If you see the runs that these running backs are having, you look, and then it's wide open space to the DBs. It's wide open space like I've never seen it before. I think a lot of FSU fans were in awe about how you can make a Wake Forest running back look like Marshawn Lynch and just have these holes and just work around and push DBs around, miss tackles.
Amari Gaynor did look good, though. Let's give your boy credit, the former Charles High Timberwolf. He had 8 tackles and a sack. He had 2.5 tackles for loss. Let's give him some credit. He did well.
Yeah, I think that's because he was a lot more into this game plan because of Deloach not being in there too. So I understand him being around, but there was still a missed tackle by him and allowed the Wake Forest player to get by and get the first down. There's just a lot of things on defense that are almost in shambles, except for the defensive line. I think they're doing fine up there. They're allowing for the linebackers to have a chance to come up and plug these holes and get the tackles on the running backs before moving to the third level or even the second level. But, the linebackers kind of just being toyed around with, I feel like. And we knew a veteran guy from Sam playing for Wake Forest that he was going to play good and he was going to learn how to kind of dice up this defense, in my opinion. That's what I was worried about, that this DB room is still kind of figuring out who fits where best. And I think it's time for a little bit of young guys to jump in there because, I mean, what would be the problem with that now? I mean, 0-3, I know you're just now beginning into your second ACC game, but you're seeing the same thing that happened with Jarian Jones last season. We've only seen a little bit of Dotson, so I'm not giving too much pressure on him. We've seen kind of how Brownlee works so far this season and a little bit like last year. You got to find you got to find a pure number 1 at corner that is a lockdown guy. And then who's up next over there? Is it Travis J, it can be Travis J too, because he just the practice yesterday he had one-on-one coverage with walk-on wide receiver Parker Self, and Parker Self made the best catch of the whole day, and Travis J was in coverage. So yeah, it's not so fun to talk about this DB room, Jason.
No, but let's on the defensive side of the ball, there is one positive. Let's talk about Jermaine Johnson for a second. Jermaine Johnson so far this season has been, without a doubt, the defensive MVP. I mean, you're talking about a guy who so far this season has already doubled his tackles from last season. I mean, last season obviously was a pandemic year, but he's already got 28 tackles. He's already got 4.5 sacks. Are you surprised that he was able to come in this quickly and just be a dominant force on that defense?
I don't think it should be too much of a surprise, because he was highly touted coming into Georgia. Didn't get, he got his playing time, but he wanted more, and it goes to show that he can play throughout a whole game, and you can keep him in that rotation. Might be a few times where you got to take him out or it doesn't fit the package, but he is in shape. He can play throughout a whole game. He's good in run defense. I have to watch him a few times, just watching how he does in the run, and he keeps his side of the field locked up, and that allows a linebacker to come in, but the linebackers aren't coming through. I mean, that's just the problem there. But Jermaine Johnson getting after the quarterback, just causing kind of problems, which allows another tackle or even Keir Thomas from the other side to get into him. That's what's good about Jermaine Johnson right now. He's one of the best. He's one of the best defensive linemen and defensive ends in the country right now. He's just fast, big, physical, good in the run game too. And you're going to want to have that against Cunningham this upcoming weekend. Cunningham is not a special quarterback. Florida State has some luck this upcoming year of not facing extra special quarterbacks, but they do end up making them look special. Just like that. They made, even though Jacksonville State's quarterback wasn't fantastic, had his up and downs, but they allowed him to just go down there and make a strike there at the end of the game. There's no Trevor Lawrence to be facing anywhere this upcoming weekend. And Malik Cunningham is not even close to, great. And so,
Mark, can you cover your ears for just 1 second? Just cover your ears. I'm not going to curse or anything. I'm going to yell something.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to yell something, so I didn't want to affect your ears real quick. Malik Cunningham scored 48 points on us last season.
Adam Fuller was Florida State's defensive coordinator last season. I could score. If I played quarterback for Louisville, if I was up there, maybe give me another extra week of game planning for Florida State.
No, you couldn't. You're not Lamar Jackson. Shout out to the Ravens for winning.
Well, Malik Cunningham is not Lamar Jackson at all.
No, he's not. Lamar Jackson's the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Sorry, I just had to there on that one. Shout out to the Chiefs for blowing that Sunday night game. Appreciate that one. But no, Malik Cunningham, I feel like we can't say anything negative about anyone we're going to play. I feel like we can't say, yes, is Malik Cunningham a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback? No. Malik Cunningham schooled us for 48 points last year. Yes, he had Tutu Atwell. I'll give you that much. But he was the leader of that offense. They scored 48 on us.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I didn't say anything about, watch out for Malik. I didn't say anything about, they're not facing he's not a good quarterback. I'm just saying that Florida State's defense is not great whatsoever, and they make quarterbacks like him look like Heisman Trophy candidates. That's what this defense does.
And Louisville's coming off beating a pretty good UCF team.
Yeah. Can we send Mackenzie Milton back now that Dylan Gabriel's? Send him back a little bit. Just an idea. Just throwing it out. Just asking for a friend.
Malik Cunningham threw for 265 with a touchdown and a pick against UCF. He ran for 99 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's where the running part comes. That's where the fun really begins.
Yeah.
They had scout team yesterday when we were watching, and I know they were doing a lot of situational drills for in the red zone and what Cunningham will do if he'll roll out, if he'll throw or tuck it and run. But Florida State in the past has not had a lot of. He just hasn't had a lot of good experiences in the past. As anybody that watches college football knows, that Florida State has always struggled against a guy that can run and also throw. And he's not fantastic either.
He scored.
It's like the perfect mixture Like I would feel better if it was just a lights out quarterback coming in, just fantastic, like how Sam Howell did last year against UNC, and they were able to lock him down a little bit.
To Malik Cunningham, to the Cunningham family, I would like to apologize for the defamation that Logan has just done on Malik Cunningham. Don't get me wrong. I hope Florida State kicks his butt this week. That being said, I would like to apologize. Do not give him the extra motivation to score more than 48 points like he did last year. Be nice. We're 0-3, and you're talking smack about the other quarterback. God.
I'm just saying he's fantastic, and I'm talking smack about Florida State's defense. That's what I'm saying. It's literally, if you understand it, I'm saying that Florida State's defense will make a not-so-great quarterback look like a Heisman. I'm saying nice things.
I liked you a lot more before you signed that Sports Illustrated deal.
So me talking smack about Florida State's defense is hurting you? You just opened up. I came in here and you were saying Adam Fuller need to be fired.
I mean, I did talk smack about
it.
Before you signed on, I did talk a little smack.
Yeah.
Jason, you would make that move mid-season.
What's that?
You'd make it immediately. Adam Fuller firing.
I legitimately would have made the move after the Jacksonville State game. I don't think the Wake Forest game did anything to earn his job. I mean, legitimately, this is a Wake Forest team that I believe we held them to, I want to say it was 10 points, 10 or 17 points in 2018. In 2019, 22 points, five field goals in that game, 1 touchdown. That's the offense we played, and that offense scored 35 against us in this game. It's once again the regression factor. The regression against Wake Forest, I mean, through the first 3 games, quick math, Logan, 41 plus 35 plus 20. 96 is the number. He's given up 96 points through the first 3 games. I mean, he has not earned it. If the defense plays well against Louisville, I think he earns a week reprieve. But if they play like they did against Wake Forest, against Louisville, and if Cunningham schools us the way he did last season, I don't think he should be the defense coordinator anymore.
You should be able to learn what they did last year, go off a little bit of film, but don't go off of all of it because they're going to be changing up. That's just how college games go. So I hope they're not fully going off of a game plan what happened last year. It's a little scary to hear some of the things that we've heard from assistant coaches and be like, what? But yeah, put in the chat right now. Put in the chat if you think that Malik Cunningham will have a great game against Florida State.
Before we go,
I think it'll be 90% yes.
Before we go, I do have a quick question for Logan. Have you realized the fact that you can't be drunk in the press box? You realize
that is something I'm surprised you haven't said anything yet, because that is something that is going to be really a problem, because that's something I have to get used to. Maybe in the morning, maybe that's where I'd be able to have my morning beers. But then I've got to really chill it out. I got to be able to. It's not gonna suck because we worked so hard to get here finally. But I mean, what am I gonna do with all these natty ice things? Like all these boxes? Like, what am I gonna do? Can I drink? I can't even drink afterwards. After that, we got to do interviews. We got to do instant recaps. What am I gonna do?
It's called adulting. It's a good thing. I promise you, it's a good thing. But if I get into that press box for the Syracuse game and I hear you drunk stumbling down the hallway, I'm going to be very, very disappointed.
What am I gonna do? This is now. Maybe I change things up. I don't know.
Quick prediction, Logan. Florida State, Louisville. Will Florida State get within 32 points, to avenge last year?
Oh man, I've been so up and down on this game this whole entire week. I mean, after yesterday and watching the practice, I felt, oh my goodness. And then hearing things from Noah being at practice, I'm like, okay, that helps a little bit. I'm not so sure there. I don't know how many people are going to be in the stands. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to how it was against Jacksonville State, which is saying something. And I do think that we'll see Mackenzie Milton out there. We will see Chubba Purdy at some point. And I don't think that's really a great thing, because that means Mackenzie Milton isn't doing so well. And I do think that having Jordan Travis not having some kind of game plan for him in a game really hurts this offense. We saw him be able to go down the field the only times with Jordan Travis on the field. Mackenzie Milton didn't work. No separation by wide receivers. Running backs, that Trayshawn Ward, that should be him. I understand Jashawn Corbin, and Jashawn Corbin has not played awful. Let's just get that out there. But the best running back is Jashawn Ward. Either if you're going to keep Corbin in there, but if Jashawn Ward or even Jashawn Corbin are going down the field and having success, keep them on the field, please. I mean, that's what you got to do. That's what FSU fans are saying in their head. But if we're moving into score predictions, I'm going to say to right now, I'm not sold on anything. I'm not sold on mainly assistant coaches right now. I think Florida State loses this game 0-4. There will be let goes after this game. I think Florida State loses. I'm going Louisville 35, right on the brink there at 35. If you're noticing that, Jason, FSU 21.
Mike Myrick, thank you for your support always at all times. I don't know what the hell you're smoking and or drinking to make you think that we will win on Saturday. It's not a shot against my alma mater. It's just a fact. They've given me no confidence to think that they can do it. Will I be cheering on the Seminoles and hoping for a win? Absolutely. But if we're saying gun to my head a prediction, 38-17 Louisville right now. Prove me wrong, Knowles. Prove me wrong, Mike Norvell. Prove me wrong, Adam Fuller. Prove me wrong, Kenny Dillingham. Prove us wrong. Give us something nice to talk about next Wednesday.
The Vegas line is only 2.5 points.
Vegas obviously didn't watch last week.
2.5 points, and the FPI says Louisville 54%.
FPI did watch last week.
I do think
much.
Yeah,
that's pretty much in line with the 2.5 points. Only 54%.
Last season, we were supposed to beat them, and I get the seasons are different, players are different. I understand that. But remember what happened last year. Last year, we were a much better team than them. We came in off a big win. They came in struggling, and we got dog stomped.
You know what I have determined to be the biggest difference and the biggest impact on me in this Florida State losing streak? Super Chat. We weren't getting super chats when Florida State loses. And we had all this optimism during the offseason, so people were anticipating 7-8 wins. And now people are just depressed.
He makes a good point, folks. He does make a good
sad,
point.
but the coverage doesn't stop. And like the instant reactions, everybody wants to come listen and see how it's going. So this is a place that you want to come and listen on Mark Rogers' show and have Nate on here. And he can give y'all, he can just go with it with y'all. I mean, he just go through the depression and the sad and the hurt. And this is like a 3:30 game too. Like I'm at the point to just give me the noons. So then I have the rest of the day to enjoy the afternoon games and the nights. This is 3:30 smack dab right in the middle. And this is gonna be hard, Jason, up there. I can't drink. If we're gonna do a night, like I can't drink beforehand. I can't drink afterward. Well, I definitely will be afterwards, but.
Well, Syracuse is 3:32, so get excited.
Oh my gosh.
January, man. Guys, fans, I get it. I in my heart, I want Florida State to win. Guys, stop thinking with your fandom. Until Florida State proves us wrong, stop thinking with your fandom. Please. It's embarrassing. It's almost as embarrassing as being a Miami Hurricanes fan.
Hey, but they're still good to have optimism. I want to have there. You know, there's a few of them out there, just like our man, January Man. January Man. Just like he put out there, we got to still have those people out there. Those are the ones that kind of just keep us afloat while everybody's out on the ship. They've just already jumped off Titanic. Just got to jump off and save your life. We still have January Man. You know, you're here for us, and you're gonna save. I like the optimism.
Folks, do not hand Logan a beer when you see him walking into Bobby Bowden Field on Saturday. He's got to work. So
that is true. Do not. And the thing is, I don't say no. That's a problem. Free beer, I will never say no to that. So do not hand me anything. Don't hand me a shot either. That would be even worse because I could show up, be just fine, and then like 30 minutes later, be like, "What am I writing on Twitter right now?"
Guys, we got to end this because Mark's got to go hear excuses from Cam Underwood about Miami. So
that's the next one up.
Woo, man! From Florida State to Miami, back.
Yeah, you're having a hell of a night over here, Mark.
This is depressing Wednesday night for you.
Hell of a night.
Enjoy it.
No doubt. It's been a long day. We've had Ohio State, Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State, Miami live streams today.
So up and then down. Is there anything at the end? Anything late tonight where it goes up?
He's gonna
no more.
Arizona
State, I'm done in an hour. Oh, I'm talking. Got to record. It's not a live stream with about your favorite team besides Miami, Florida. Got an 8 o'clock record on the Gators.
Sorry.
Oh, Lordy day, help us all.
Cover everyone, Jason.
Everybody be safe though this weekend. All 15 of you and Doak this weekend.
Exactly. And for the dozens of people who will be joining me for the Syracuse game, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I get to see Jason up there.
Yay!
In person for the first time ever. We'll see each other.
Well, actually, bring my no game day stuff. All right. Goodbye.
Can I bring
Hey, everybody out there. Misery deserves company.
Okay.
So please grab some people and come on back next Wednesday at 6 so we can like triple our numbers and we can all commiserate together or be completely surprised and shocked that FSU actually beat Louisville.
Don't say it like that, Mark.
Not happening.
All right, boys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Enjoy everybody engaging. Hit that like button right now.
Hit the like button on your way out and join Logan tonight at 8:30, right?
8:30. Yeah, we'll be on YouTube so we can continue the funness. But we'll talk NFL though. We'll talk NFL.
It can't get worse. Can it?
No.
Next Wednesday.